Welcome back! Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I'm very excited for today's video because I have a lot to talk about. It's been about 3 weeks since my last video, but since then I've finished a lot of things, and I'm just excited to talk about it. First thing I finished is my Lakes pullover, which I'm wearing right now, and I love it so much. This was knit in Patton's Classic Wool. I will stand up and show you. This is the length, and yeah, I love it so much. This is the Lakes pullover by Ozetta, and I had heard so much about this pattern, and so when I needed to give the yarn for my Nature's cardigan a new life, I decided to cast this one on. I cast this on in November, and I just finished it a couple days ago, so it did take me about 2 months, but that's because I went through so much with this yarn. This yarn has literally been through so much because I knit a whole Nature's cardigan, which I then blocked and realized that it was too small, and so I undid that, and then my yarn was all crinkly and I couldn't knit with it, and so I had to wind all of it up and soak it and let that dry, and I did that about twice. And so if you can see, the yarn is very, honestly I would say rustic, just because it's been used so much, and I did need to get a new ball to actually finish my second sleeve, and so you can really see the difference in color and wear. Which at the beginning it did bother me a little bit, but then I realized there's really nothing I can do, and eventually I bet this sleeve will look like this one. So yeah. For the size, I knit the size in between a medium and a large because I wanted it to be oversized, and I get weird with like knitting pattern sizes because I get really scared that, well, I'm just scared because I knit the Nature's cardigan and I knit a size small and it turned out way too small, and so I just really didn't want that to happen again, and so I made sure to knit a big enough size. And so I honestly wasn't even following one size exactly, I was kind of following the stitch count like right in between the medium and the large. So yeah, but I'm really happy with this. The collar looks so good. I love the saddle shoulders, and I just think it's a really well-written pattern, and I definitely want to make another one. So yeah, that's my first finished object. I've literally been wearing it every day because I love it. Okay, next we have a pair of socks using the yarn that I got for Christmas. This is the Arne & Carlos Socks and More 4-ply. This is just a pair of vanilla socks by Summerly Knits, the I'm So Basic socks, which I've made a lot of times. This is in the colorway 03881, and it's called Nussfjord. Probably not saying that right, but these colors are literally some of my favorite colors, like this dark blue, the light blue, the purple, the black, or the gray. Just looks so good together. And yeah, I'm really happy to be done with these. This is my first pair of 2026, and I do have a goal to knit 10 pairs of socks in 2026, which I think is very reasonable, and I think I probably will do it because last year, 2025, which was the first year I started knitting socks, I knit 7 pairs, and I started in February, so we'll see, but I think I can do it, because I also, this year I want to make some shorty socks, like, you know, like, completely omitting the leg and just knitting little cuff and then the foot, because I have so much scrap sock yarn, so I definitely want to make some, like, scrap shorty socks, which I think would be really cute. But yeah, I'm really happy with these. Yeah, I love these. And I'm always so surprised about how much yarn I have left over when I do a pair of socks. This is obviously a 100 gram skein, but I was able to get this pair and I still have so much yarn left. This is why I'm interested in trying a toe-up pair of socks, because that way you can literally use all of your yarn, which I know if I did a toe-up pair of socks, my leg would be like insanely long because there's so much yarn in 100 grams, but I'm definitely going to try that this year. I have a list of a few goals, knitting goals this year, so I'll talk about that. But yeah, one of them is knit 10 pairs of socks. So this is pair 1. And I am working on pair 2, which I will show you later in the video. But yeah, that is those socks. Very happy with them. Next, this is something that I had either just started or showed the yarn for in my last episode, but now it's all finished. This is the Big Chunky Comfy Hat. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and it is using the gorgeous Malabrigo Rasta yarn. This is in the colorway Diana, and I find it so amazing that from far away it kind of looks like a copper, definitely like a darker color, but then when you go up close they have these super vibrant pinks and blues and orange and green, and yeah, this yarn is so soft. This is, I think it's 100% wool. Yeah, it is. And it's exactly what the pattern is called. It's big, it's chunky, and it's very comfy. And I love it. I love hats that like fully cover my ears because my ears are really sensitive, and this does exactly that. It looks so cute. And my friend actually gifted me this yarn, and with that gift she also gave me this pom-pom that you actually snap on. So I basically sewed this part to the top of the hat, and then there's a little snap in there, and then you just attach that, which is so fun. And I think she picked out the perfect color pom-pom for my hat. So yeah, this is definitely my favorite hat right now. It's so warm, and I knit this in one day. I started it December 30th and I finished it on the 31st. And I didn't block it or anything. This was a great project. I would really recommend this yarn. It's obviously gorgeous and so warm, which I really appreciate. So yeah, that's that. I knit this on 8mm needles, and again, I knit it in like one day, so super quick project, which I really like. Okay, the next thing I knit is this beanie. I knit so many beanies. I don't know, I was just feeling it, I guess. This is the pattern for this is called Jason's Cashmere Hat. It is another free Ravelry pattern. And for this I used my leftover yarn, the Barocco Ultra Alpaca. I had 100-gram skein left from my Tulip Loop vest that I knit last year. And this was like the perfect yarn for this project. This yarn is 50% wool and 50% alpaca, which makes it very warm, but honestly it's surprisingly lightweight. And yeah, I really like this pattern. It was really quick. And I think these cables are just very classic. And yeah, this is a good pattern. Just a classic hat. I really like this. I'm happy I was able to use some leftover yarn, because that's always satisfying. And yeah, well written pattern, very popular on Ravelry, and following the blue theme because I love blue. Okay, so then we have one more hat, which is a baby hat actually, another blue hat, but this is the Top Knot baby hat by Pearl Soho. This is such an adorable pattern. It's a free pattern, and I knit this up in one night. It took me a few hours, and it was so simple, but I just think that the pattern creates such a cute little, like I love the decreases. It's kind of like a cool spiral. And then of course the cute little knot at the top, that's like my favorite part, obviously. The pattern actually comes with two options. This is just a little I-cord at the top when you finish it, and it also has an option to make a little loop, which is super cute, but I just liked the knot for this one. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what this yarn is. I think it's probably some sort of cotton blend. I just found it in my stash, and yeah. And this is the thing that I love about knitting, is that sometimes you can just say, I don't really want to work on any of my whips, and you can just find a free pattern out there and spend a night working on a little thing, and then you have it. Like, this took me one night, and it was very enjoyable. And I just love that about knitting, how accessible these patterns are on Ravelry. And yeah, so really happy with this. There are going to be more baby knits coming up because someone in my life is having a baby, which is very exciting. I've been waiting for this moment so that I can knit baby stuff. So this is the first part of that gift that I'm going to give. I'm planning to obviously make socks. I definitely want to do a cardigan or a sweater, and then maybe pants. I don't know. I've also seen some super cute like diaper covers, which look a lot quicker than pants. So we'll see what I end up making, but this is the first part of my baby knitting, and it was very enjoyable. Again, this is the Top Knot Baby Hat by Pearl Soho. Would really recommend this pattern. It was really fun. And then that is everything for my finished objects. I had a sweater, 3 hats, and 1 pair of socks. So that feels pretty good. Now let's get into some works in progress. So my first whip is the Jacques Cousteau hat, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. And this is just a really simple ribbed beanie. There's some really cool decreases. I have the pattern right here so I can show you that it kind of swirls around, which I think looks super cool. And yeah, it's just in a knit 3 purl 2 rib, and I have about 3 more inches to knit in just plain ribbing before I start the decreases. And yeah, it's been super easy. I'm finally using my yarn, sorry about that, my Loving Path yarn that I originally used for a muscle burra, which I didn't end up liking the fit of that, and then I'm making this. This is also for a gift. I think it's going to be really nice. This is a really nice yarn. This is 100% Blueface Leicester sheep. It's wool. I don't know why I'm trying it on, but yeah. I really love the thicker ribbing. Like, I just think it looks really nice. I would love to incorporate that into other projects. This is only a 3x2, but I love even like I've seen like 8, like knit 8, purl 1, purl 2. I think that looks so cool, and I've never seen any store-bought items with that type of ribbing, so I definitely want to try that. My second work in progress is a pair of socks, which I'm not following an exact pattern for this, but it's basically just like a really basic vanilla sock, but instead of knitting stockinette, I'm just doing 2x2 ribbing, which I've never done ribbed socks, and I am loving them. I just did a regular heel flap and gusset because that's all I know. And then the bottom of the foot is going to be stockinette, and the top is going to continue in the ribbing pattern. Yeah. I just did my regular 64 stitch cast on, and this yarn is Barocco Comfort Sock, which is actually a fully synthetic sock yarn. It is 50% superfine acrylic and 50% superfine nylon, which I love my wool socks, so I don't really know why I went for this, but it was like $10, and I really liked this colorway. And I thought, you know what, for so many years of my life I wore manufactured socks, which are obviously made with synthetic materials, so I think, I mean, this is a gift, but yeah, I think it should be okay, just this once. I'm excited about these. This hasn't been as tedious as I've heard ribbed socks are. I don't know, I like it. I'm doing so much ribbing right now, and so I'm just getting used to it. But yeah, that's my sock whip right now. I always have a pair of socks on the go, always. Okay, and my last whip that I have was such a impulse cast on. I kind of just wanted to cast something on, and so I'm making a super thin, small Sophie scarf because I literally have like, this is my leftover from my twist loop top, and I have maybe 17 grams, and yeah, I'm onto the decreases now, and I'm not even knitting this on gauge. This is on a 3mm needle, which I think normally it's on a 3.5, using like a DK weight. This is obviously fingering, but yeah, I just kind of wanted something to cast on, and the Sophie scarf is very satisfying. I like how clean it looks, and so yeah, that's my last whip. I don't really have anything too exciting on my needles right now, but it feels good to finally be done this sweater, and yeah, to kind of, yeah, just take a deep breath and have small things to work on. But I do have two other things that I've bought recently that I want to show. First, I bought my own skein of the Comfort sock. That's the same yarn that this is. Yeah, I just liked this color, and it was $10.49, so I can't pass it up. And do I maybe regret it now because it's not wool? Yes. I might not even make a pair of socks with this. I might think of something else to make with this because I really like the color. And this is a very soft yarn, but I like my wool socks, so we'll see. It's 100 grams, and I'll figure something out. Maybe I could do a muscle burrow with it or something. I don't know. I don't really use like acrylic anymore, at least I try not to, but I was just like excited to find like a sock weight yarn for such a good price. So yeah, we'll see about that. And then my next purchase was something very exciting. I got this knitting bag, which I'm so excited about because I love knitting in public. I love knitting when I go to Costco or like the mall or something, and this bag is designed specifically for that. It is made by Jezebel B in Quebec, in Canada. This is the little tag. As you can see, you hold the bag on your wrist and you keep your yarn in there, and then you're able to knit on the go, which I love. And people have been doing this for hundreds of years, or at least 150 years, because my mom has this Estonian knitting history book, and there's pictures of women with bags like this, knitting in the fields, and yeah, so this is how it works. And I just love this so much, and it was actually on sale in my yarn store for $10. It got marked down a lot because I guess they weren't selling, but I'm really happy to have one, and I just think it's a really nice item to have, so I'm very excited about that. And yeah, that's all of my knitting stuff. I thought I would talk a bit about my knitting goals for 2026. As I already said, I want to knit 10 pairs of socks this year, which I think is reasonable because I always have a pair of socks going. So I'm already on my second pair of the year and we're still in January, so I think I'm going to be able to do it. My second goal is I really want to knit a colorwork sweater in Let Lopi. I want to just knit a colorwork sweater to begin with, but I've seen a lot of really nice colorwork sweaters in the Let Lopey yarn, which I've been wanting to work with as well. And so I think I'm going to mix those two ideas and do a colorwork Let Lopey sweater. So that's the second goal of mine. The third one is to do a vintage pattern. I know that there's lots of websites that have free like Aran sweater patterns, like all over cabled, and I really want to do that this year. You know, I've knit stockinette sweaters now and I feel very comfortable with it. I've knit cable items, and so I think I'm definitely ready to knit a cable sweater. There's been times throughout the year that I have wanted to cast one on, but I know that it's gonna be a big undertaking. Like, I know it's gonna be a lot of work, but even just finishing this sweater and like the happiness that this brought me, I think it's definitely worth the time and the hard work, because this took me a long time and I'm so happy with it. And that feeling of finishing a sweater is so good. So those are my 3 goals. Honestly, not that much, and I'm obviously gonna do lots of other stuff, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm really excited about the new year and knitting. I have one thing I want to show. I actually have this hung up on my wall because I wasn't sure. I wanted to display it in my room, and I found a spot on my wall which looks really cute. But I actually tried out some filet crochet right here, which, if you can tell what it is a rabbit. And this was so cool. Honestly, this was so cool. I remember just, you know, looking on Pinterest and stuff and seeing all of these filet crochet projects and just thinking how beautiful they were. And, you know, I know how to crochet, and I knew that we had some of this like cotton thread in the basement. And so I just decided to search up a video, and I found a chart on I watched a video on how to do it, and I found a chart. And this took me like one day, and then I blocked it, and yeah, you can see it better on a dark background, so that's why I'm doing this. But yeah, I wonder if there will be more filet crochet in my future. I definitely found that it really hurt my wrist. I started out crocheting, like with my fiber stuff. I started out crocheting and I did a lot of projects in crochet, and I never found that it really hurt my wrist. And then I started knitting and I stuck with knitting. And so then going back to crochet, especially with, I was using a 2mm hook and like super fine thread, it really hurt my wrist. So I see people knitting these massive like tapestry filet crochet pieces, but I don't know if I could do that right now because the way that I'm crocheting hurts my wrist. So yeah, but I'm just so glad that I tried this. It, again, took me one day. Really satisfying, really easy, and so cute. So yeah, that's the last thing I want to talk about, but thank you so much for watching my video today, and yeah, there's lots more to come this year. Really excited about knitting, as always, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!